Top 5 NCAA losses in court. I'm not talking about on a basketball court. I'm talking about in court. Because I do feel like maybe the most recent one on Friday, it's not going to be their last one, but it's going to be one that should they need to put a dam in this river and put it in a different, and flow it to a different spot.
You mean fix the dam, correct the dam?
Or build one and reflow the river to where the population is now, because it's just not good.
Why would you want the population to drown?
Well, no, you got to you've seen, like, they build dams and the river goes to different spots, into tributaries. Listen, I don't know rivers.
Let's put it this way. The dam has broken.
Yes, it's bad. It's bad. Number 5, the Alston case. This one was a 9-0 decision in the Supreme Court. And it had to do ultimately with athlete compensation and the NCAA's ability to restrict it and make money off of athletes without sharing in that profit. And it was 9-0 in the Supreme Court. And for those of you who are not Supreme Court buffs, and I don't blame you if you're not, but historically, 9-0 is only reserved for cases that probably shouldn't have gotten that far. In that the Supreme Court is telling you, from especially the Supreme Court we have now, which have 6 judges that think one way and 3 that think another way, and there's not a lot of, crossover like there would be normally, for all 9 of them to be in complete agreement and there be no dissenting opinion shows you how bad of a case this was.
Yeah. Shut out.
I'm interested to see what the other 4 are, because this is, to me, is the biggest one that they've faced and has changed everything to the way that we've seen it now, basically. So, this was huge. And without this, I mean, we're back in a different era of college football. So, this was a huge deal back in, I guess, was that a couple years ago now at this point?
And the one, number 4, that set this up would have been the OBannon case, where Ed O'Bannon's picture was on the cover of the NCAA basketball game from EA Sports. And at no point did the NCAA think, like, hey, maybe we should let Ed O'Bannon have a little cut of this. Like, it's not even about the players in the game so much.
You think they even asked permission to use his picture?
Like, he's the guy who's on the cover of the thing. And I this is kind of a non sequitur here, but a weird segue. But when I was at college, there was a girl that we knew that her picture was on the cover of a Girls Gone Wild video, which obviously she did not want her parents to see. And they did not ask her permission to use that in the distribution. And she won a smaller lawsuit against Girls Gone Wild, an equally stupid organization as the NCAA. But the O'Bannon lawsuit's kind of what opened this up here in the last few years. Of course, it's been 5-6 years since that decision, and the slow burn and the kind of things like, oh, we're going to give you this much money a semester that you can have when you graduate was like, all right, well, you're only doing that because you've been made to. But O'Bannon opened the door for Alston, which is why I listed Alston last, and we're going to kind of hop around here to the distant past and the recent here in the next 3.
Yeah, the whole Girls Gone Wild thing, I mean, they got shut down by lawsuits, did it not, basically? I mean, of all different sorts, I guess. But, O'Bannon was that's got to be mentioned right there with Alston as far as helping lead us down this path to where we are now and all the different judgments against the NCAA. I mean, Alston and O'Bannon, I would imagine that gives NCAA folks nightmares when they hear those names because, they've got this ball rolling. And if Ed O'Bannon doesn't decide to take action, I mean, where are we now if he doesn't do that? I'm sure at some point somebody else would have, but he'll forever be attached. I mean, I knew him as the UCLA basketball player, but I think everybody now knows him as the guy, if not the top name, along with Alston, but maybe even more so, that really got all this stirring as far as changes go. So,
I thought that was a long, long time ago. Well, it actually was in 2015, 9 years ago, but I thought it was even deeper than that, like an extra 5 or 10 years even earlier. But 2015, O'Bannon, 2021 was Alston.
Yes. Number 3, this one is way back, NCAA versus Board of Regents. This is the Georgia and Oklahoma Board of Regents in 1984, where they challenged the NCAA on their TV rights. And this, if I'm really going back, like when I was looking at this and thinking about all the different lawsuits, the NCAA had for a long time, they had a great record. where they'd win lawsuits. They'd win them, or like if they had to make a concession, it was pretty small. But this is the one, and I do think that this is the one that lawyers post this have studied on how to get them and how they probably got them and everything else. But they were challenged because OU and Georgia particularly felt that the NCAA was restricting their ability to make money off their own TV rights, and that the TV rights should go to market. And now we have a college athletics where TV runs the whole thing, and that is because of this right here.
I thought this would be one. It's hard not to have Alston, and as Craig said, O'Bannon and all. All right, these next two,
they're all big deals.
This was the one that, to me, was when you have the house, and it was the one piece of wood or brick. This is the one that set everything up.
Well, it's changed all the TV side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we have the Pac-12 dying, basically. As far as it was pretty well set up, and then they allowed the freedom for an Oklahoma with its brand to go out and negotiate its own TV deals. And once you kind of open that door, it was a free-for-all. And certainly television has only grown to the point now where they're basically the ones in charge, right? So, we can kind of thank this one for the TV money becoming what it eventually became. But, this is a major fork in the road for the NCAA. And if Oklahoma and Georgia don't take action, then who knows? I mean, it could be one of those things like any of these others of like eventually somebody would have, but it's like, okay, but for how long? How long would it have taken? Would it have worked out the same? And this one right here is – this might be the one that everybody, especially of an older persuasion, points to as far as like the real change in the money in college football.
Yep. Number 2, just recently, Raequan Battle and his ability to transfer without restriction. That one came down, and it was pretty fast. I remember just reading about it. The court hearing wasn't even that long. I mean, so they've got to start and. This one and then the next one, which is going to be kind of obvious to you guys, but this one they got to think about how many millions have they poured on billable hours that could have just said, "Look here, guys, you can have this."
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
But that's what powerful companies do.
Yes.
They want to attorney or lawyer sue you to death or appeal to death because you're going to run out of gas and you're just going to give up or you're just going to be overwhelmed. But no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. But this one here was the first one. Like all the legs have been kind of knocked out slowly from
the three-legged stool.
Yeah, the stool. And this was the probably the second leg that's been knocked out of like, okay, well, we don't want you to transfer more than this many times, or you can't do this, or you have to sit out, or here's the rules. And then basically the court said, nope, you can't. You can't restrict them from doing what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean that's America. That's the law, and I can appreciate that and respect it. Don't love it as a fan, the unlimited transfers, but if there's not an argument against it, then you've got to do the right thing, which was ruling in favor of Raequan Battle among others here. But this is great for the athletes, like every single other decision that's been made, basically, other than maybe some realignment decisions as far as travel goes. Although the compensation for that travel is greater than it's ever been, this one here, I don't know. We've quite seen the extent of how much floodwater is rolling through the gates yet, because now, it's just going to only become more and more popular. I mean, there's no rules now, so you're going to see transfers probably either remain as is, where it's like an average of 3 schools per average player, and maybe even more. I don't know, but this was a big one for the athletes for sure, and I think it's the right choice. I don't know if it's great for the game that it's going to allow so much moving around, but we'll see. Maybe it has no effect whatsoever.
Yeah. Number 1, and this is the one that I think was the shotgun to the dying dog here, is Tennessee and Virginia antitrust suit that we just heard.
This thing this did not take long to get there.
No, I mean, and basically, look, the NCAA has been about through every lawsuit and every rule change and everything they've ever done, the one bastion that they've held on to this entire time is recruiting inducements are illegal. We cannot have recruiting inducements. That is something that is the bridge too far for us. We cannot do it. And basically what they've been told right here is any of their rules involving name, image, and likeness are unenforceable right now, and that probably means they're unenforceable into the future, which means that recruiting inducements, guess what, are legal. So because of that, the one thing that they've been standing on for so long has been absolutely taken out from under them, and I don't know if they'll ever be able to enforce that in any real way based on what we saw from just this preliminary decision about this. And I don't even know if they should fight this case for a long term, because if they're going to lose, they just need to use this as the, okay, we are dead in our old form. How can we rise from the ashes as something that makes sense and doesn't spend most of its time in court?
Yeah, it was a blow for the NCAA, which you wonder how many more they can take at this point. I mean, it seems like they should have been knocked out a couple of different times over the years, but here they are, still taking major blows to the head, and this one was certainly a haymaker. Just to what extent are they going to be able to get up at the 9 this time around? They keep getting up, but at some point you just wonder how much more they can withstand, and so that was a huge win for Tennessee, and Virginia also attached to that as well. And I don't think we quite understand exactly what this is going to mean moving forward because we're just wrapping our heads around the results themselves. But yeah, I mean, there's basically no restrictions on really anything whatsoever. So yeah, let's see what all this looks like, I guess, moving forward. I mean, we kind of got a taste of it with the transfer portal and that being new, and that's been fine for the most part. I don't think there's anything that's like ruined the sport necessarily. Some will argue otherwise. We've seen NIL, it didn't ruin the sport. Some will argue otherwise, but I don't know. I still love it all pretty much the same. I do wish there was some standard regulations, but you got to determine what's even enforceable, and obviously none of the stuff that's being fought over is enforceable, so you can't make them rules. So where do you turn now if you're the NCAA to try and shape this game in the image that you want it, because you can't seem to establish anything concrete without getting sued and losing that battle. So I think they're losing battles they deserve to lose or should lose. I know it's kind of jarring to see what all's changing and how quickly it's changing, but nobody to blame but themselves. And in the case of a Raequan Battle and guys transferring, I don't love seeing players on 3rd and 4th schools, but I think in specific cases like his or others where there's family issues or mental health issues or whatever the case may be, those don't need to be brushed to the side of like, oh, well, okay, whatever. No, you're going to still have to sit. I mean, that is something that probably should have changed and being more open-minded towards the athletes. So they're definitely the courts and the people in charge, not the NCAA, but elsewhere, certainly in favor of the athletes. And that's why they're picking up win after win after win after win, and the wins don't seem like they're going to stop anytime soon. But I don't know how many more battles there are to fight at this point.
I think there's kind of like they need to throw in the white towel. Raequan Battle, I guess, you went to Texas, right, with the hook 'em horn sign?
No.
I know that. All right.
That's not the right way anyways.
Remember.
That's more of an H-Town thing.
Oh, it is. You're right. Look at Garrett.